the silent, eerie halls of African boarding schools, a chilling presence is said to roam the dark corridors, her steps echoing like a sinister heartbeat. She is Madame Koi Koi, the ghostly figure of a woman whose haunting legend strikes fear into the hearts of students across the continent. The story goes that Madame Koi Koi was once a beautiful teacher, known for her elegance and her striking red high heels, but beneath her poised exterior lay a dark and vengeful soul. According to the legend, she was cruel to her students, punishing them mercilessly for even the smallest mistakes. One fateful day, her harshness led to a confrontation with students or staff, and the encounter ended in tragedy. Some say she was pushed to her death, her red heels clattering down the stairs as her screams faded into silence. But death did not silence Madame Koi Koi. Her restless spirit lingers, haunting the places where she once walked. At night, students claim to hear the unmistakable click-clack of her red heels echoing through empty dormitory halls or school bathrooms. The sound grows louder, closer, as if she's hunting for those who dare remain awake or wander alone. Day schools are not spared from her wrath. Madame Koi Koi is said to haunt students who arrive too early or linger too late, her ghostly figure appearing in toilets or empty classrooms, her one remaining red heel glinting ominously in the dim light. Her vengeance is swift and silent. Some students claim to have felt her icy grip, while others report the sight of her disfigured face, her expression twisted with rage and sorrow. No one knows what she truly seeks: revenge, redemption, or simply a victim to share her eternal torment. To this day, students whisper warnings: never walk the halls alone at night, and if you hear the haunting click-clack of Madame Koi Koi's heels, run, for she is always watching, always waiting. The road stretched out, a ribbon of black cutting through the desolate landscape. The hum of the engine, the rhythmic swoosh of the wipers against the rain-streaked windshield, the only sounds in the oppressive silence of the night. A woman drove alone, the miles ticking by, each one taking her further into the heart of darkness. A prickle of unease ran down her spine, a sense of being watched, of being followed. A pair of headlights appeared in her rearview mirror, growing larger, closer. The car behind her, a dark, indistinct shape, began to tailgate, its high beams flashing intermittently, blinding her with bursts of light. Fear, cold and sharp, gripped her heart. She pressed down on the accelerator, desperate to put distance between herself and her pursuer. The car behind her matched her speed, its high beams flashing again, a persistent, menacing presence. She swerved, trying to shake off her pursuer, but the dark car followed, its presence growing more insistent, more threatening. Terror clawed at her throat, choking off her breath. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, her heart pounding against her ribs. Finally, she reached her driveway, the familiar glow of her porch light a beacon in the darkness. She fumbled with her keys, her hands trembling, desperate to get inside, to escape the menacing presence behind her. As she reached for the door handle, the car behind her stopped, its headlights illuminating her car, its high beams flashing one last time. A figure emerged from the pursuing car, a dark silhouette against the headlights. He approached her slowly, his face obscured by shadows. Terror choked her, her scream trapped in her throat. The figure leaned closer, his voice a low whisper. "Check your back seat." She turned, her blood running cold. A shadowy figure lurked in the back, its eyes gleaming in the darkness. The figure in the driveway spoke again, his voice now filled with urgency. "I saw him get in at the last gas station. I tried to warn you." The shadowy figure in the back lunged. In the dark corners of Chicago's streets, there's a chilling tale that has haunted the city since 1991. A story of a clown, not the jolly kind with painted smiles and squeaky shoes, but a twisted, murderous figure who terrorized the very neighborhoods where laughter once echoed. This is the legend of Homie the Clown, a name that sends shivers through anyone who remembers the whispers of that time. It was said that Homie the Clown wasn't just another entertainer dressed in a garish costume, but a dangerous predator who lurked in the shadows of Chicago's South Side. With a face painted in grotesque, exaggerated features, wide, maniacal eyes, a permanent grin twisted into something far more sinister, he was not there to entertain, but to instill fear. His clown persona was a mask, hiding the true monster underneath. The urban legend began innocently enough. Children in the neighborhood, curious and naive, spoke of a strange figure in the streets, an unsettling clown who roamed at night, offering candy and small trinkets to those who dared approach him. But there was always something off about Homie. His gifts, while seemingly benign, were laced with an aura of danger. No one ever seemed to see him leave, and those who ventured too close to his eerie, silent figure would never be seen again. Over time, Homie's legend grew darker. The tales started to merge with real-life disappearances, and soon a sense of dread fell over the area. The clown wasn't just a shadowy figure anymore. He had become something far worse. A serial killer hiding in plain sight. People began to believe that Homie would stalk his victims, sometimes luring them into his van with promises of candy, only to disappear into the night with them, never to be heard from again. In the years that followed, rumours of Homie the Clown began to spread. They spoke of him preying on children, his sharp, jagged teeth hidden behind his painted smile. Others claimed that he would disappear into the fog, his haunting laugh echoing long after he had gone. But no one knew who he truly was, or if he was even real. Was he just a story told to keep kids in line? Or had the city truly been haunted by a killer clown, a predator who used the innocence of childhood to hide his monstrous deeds? To this day, the legend of Homie the Clown persists. Many dismiss it as a myth or an exaggerated story, but there are those who still believe that somewhere in the dark alleys and hidden streets of Chicago, Homie is waiting. And for those who still wander too far into the night, they might just hear the faintest, most unsettling sound, the laughter of a clown, too twisted to be anything but a nightmare. In the magical world of The Wizard of Oz, there is a dark and twisted legend that has haunted the film for decades. It's a tale of a shadowed figure seen briefly in the background that has sent chills down the spines of those who claim to have seen it. This is the story of the hanging munchkin, a haunting image that some believe shows an actor who tragically took his own life during the filming of the movie. The scene in question occurs as Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion make their way through the yellow brick road, and in the background, just for a fleeting moment, a shadowy figure appears hanging from a rope in the distance. The figure appears to be a small, humanoid shape, one of the munchkins, but instead of standing or moving, it sways ominously as though suspended in mid-air. The unsettling image has long been thought to show a munchkin actor who, in a moment of despair, ended his life while filming. Rumours spread quickly after the film's release. Some claimed it was a tragic accident. Others swore that the figure was the result of a hidden, dark history surrounding the munchkin actors. Over the years, the hanging munchkin became an urban legend, whispered about by fans of the film, who believed that the ghost of the actor still lingered, forever trapped in the frames of the movie. However, Snopes.com debunked the legend, tracing the figure to a much more mundane origin. Instead of a suicide, the mysterious shape was likely one of several large birds that had been allowed to roam the set. The bird's wings, spread wide in the background, created the illusion of a hanging figure, a trick of the light and angle that fueled the myth. Despite the truth, the legend persists. Some still claim that when watching the film late at night, they catch a glimpse of the hanging munchkin, the shadow of a tragedy that never truly happened, but has haunted the film's legacy all the same. In the forgotten corners of Kansas, hidden deep in the eerie silence of Stoll Cemetery, lies a dark secret, one that should never be sought but forever lingers. The legend speaks of an ancient, crumbling church that once stood here, now reduced to rubble, its remnants buried beneath the weight of time and neglect. But beneath the wreckage, something far more sinister still endures. A set of stairs that lead into the earth, hidden from view, yet said to open into the very depths of hell. Every year, on Halloween night and the spring equinox, the veil between this world and the next grows thin, and the gates of hell are said to crack open. It is on these cursed nights that the stairs, once part of the old church, are said to reveal their true purpose, serving as a direct passage to the other side. Those who venture too close report an unnatural cold, a weight in the air that presses down on their chest, and an oppressive silence that seems to swallow all sound. The stories are chilling. Some claim to have seen shadows move at the edge of their vision, whispers from unseen voices calling them forward, urging them to descend. But none are foolish enough to go further. Many who have dared to approach speak of the heavy, suffocating presence that lingers near the steps, a force that watches from the dark. And though the church is long gone, the legend persists. For in the dead of night, when the moon is hidden and the air turns thick with dread, to open, waiting for those who are brave or cursed enough to glimpse what lies beyond. But be warned, once you look into that darkness, it might never let you go. In the late 1970s, a quiet council house at 284 Green Street in Enfield, London, became the centre of one of England's most chilling supernatural tales, the Enfield poltergeist. Between 1977 and 1979, the Hodgson family, especially two young sisters, Janet and Margaret, found themselves at the mercy of a malevolent force lurking within their home. What began as strange noises soon spiralled into a full-blown haunting that would terrify all who witnessed it. The haunting started subtly, objects shifting, knocking sounds echoing through the night. But as days passed, the activity grew more violent. Furniture slid across rooms by unseen hands, toys flew through the air, and chilling voices filled the house. At the heart of it all was Janet, just 11 years old, who appeared to be the poltergeist's primary target. She would often fall into violent trances, speaking in a guttural voice that was far from her own, claiming to be an old man who had died in the house. Witnesses, including police officers and paranormal investigators, were horrified as they saw objects move and heard disembodied voices with their own eyes and ears. One officer reported seeing a heavy chair slide across the floor, while investigators observed Janet levitating and being thrown from her bed as if lifted by invisible hands. The poltergeist presence was relentless, bringing a sense of dread and terror to everyone involved. Attempts to communicate with the spirit revealed its bitter rage and violent intent. It would mock the family, taunt the investigators, and even threaten anyone who dared to interfere. Those who entered the house often felt an overwhelming coldness, a suffocating presence pressing down on them. The Enfield poltergeist remains a mystery, dividing skeptics and believers alike. Some claim it was a hoax, a trick played by young girls seeking attention, but others insist the terror was real, that the house on Green Street was truly haunted by a force beyond this world. Even today, the Enfield poltergeist stands as one of the most disturbing cases of supernatural activity, a dark chapter in London's history that lingers in the shadows, a warning that some spirits do not rest easily. In the dead of night, there's a number whispered among those brave, or foolish, enough to try. 999-9999. According to the legend, if you dial this number after midnight, an eerie voice on the other end will answer, ready to grant your deepest, darkest wish. But there's a catch. Whatever you ask for will come true, but your life will be the price. Legend has it that the voice on the other end is patient, almost amused, as if it's heard countless desperate pleas before. You might hear soft breathing or the faint sound of something shifting, waiting for you to speak your desire. Ask for fame, fortune, or revenge, and it's granted, swift and precise. But the moment your wish is fulfilled, your fate is sealed. Witnesses claim that people who dared to make the call found themselves in strange, terrifying accidents shortly after, as if some unseen force had come to collect their due. Stories tell of a girl who dialed the number to become the most popular student in school. She achieved her wish, but within days she was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Her phone lying beside her with 9999999 still on the screen. Another tale recounts a young man who asked for unimaginable wealth, only to be discovered lifeless in his luxury apartment just days later, the phone's last call pointing to that same cursed number. In 2002, the legend inspired a horror film, 9999999, where the cursed number brings terror to those who dare to test its power. Even today, some thrill seekers and skeptics dial 9999999 after midnight, hoping to prove the legend false. But as the silence stretches on and the dial tone fades, some swear they hear a faint voice, asking softly, "What is your wish?" In the shadowed realms of rural lore, where the line between jest and truth blurs, the legend of cow tipping haunts the fields and farmyards. Said to be a moonlit escapade for thrill-seeking youths, this bizarre activity involves the stealthy approach towards an unsuspecting cow, fast asleep standing upright in the darkness, and the sudden, forceful shove to topple the massive beast over for mere sport. But beyond the surface of this seemingly harmless prank lies a more chilling narrative, whispered among those who know the countryside's true face after dark. As the legend goes, in a secluded farming community, enveloped by the embrace of ancient woods and forgotten roads, cow tipping became more than just a reckless pastime. It morphed into a ritual of fear. The teens of this town, driven by boredom and the intoxicating rush of defiance, would venture out into the fields under the guise of night, their laughter slicing through the silence like a cold wind. But there was one night that turned their mischievous jaunt into a nightmare. As the group approached a familiar pasture, the moon hung low and ominous, bathing everything in a ghostly silver hue. The cows stood like monolithic statues in the mist, their breath forming clouds in the crisp air. Emboldened by the eerie night, the teens singled out a large, shadowy figure at the edge of the field. With a mix of exhilaration and alcohol-fueled bravado, they crept up to the sleeping cow. However, as they laid their hands on the creature, ready to push, the cow did not budge. Instead, it slowly turned its head, revealing not the docile eyes of a farm animal, but the glowing red orbs of a creature from deeper shadows. The teens froze, their hearts pounding as the cow, or the thing that masqueraded as one, rose unnaturally on its hind legs, towering over them with a menacing presence. Panic erupted as the creature chased them through the fields, its form blurring between beast and spectre, its bellows a grotesque parody of bovine grunts mixed with something far older and angrier. The youths scattered, screaming into the night, forever marked by the terror of what they had provoked. Those who returned spoke little of the incident, their eyes haunted by the memory. The story spread, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and during late-night gatherings. Cow tipping was no longer seen as a harmless challenge, but as a dare with potentially dire consequences. To this day, the fields at the edge of that town remain untouched at night, the cows left to their peaceful slumber, for the locals know that some rural myths are better left untested, and that disturbing the natural order can awaken things best left asleep in the darkness. We unravel a chilling urban legend that will send shivers down your spine. Relax, close your eyes, and listen closely as we explore the celebrity death rule of threes, where fame meets fate. There's an unsettling superstition whispered among those who follow the lives of the rich and famous. It's known as the celebrity death rule of threes. According to the legend, when one celebrity dies, it's never alone. Soon after, another will follow, and then a third, completing the grim trilogy. Some dismiss it as coincidence, but for those who believe, it's a chilling curse that's all too real. It begins with an unexpected death, a movie star, a politician, or a beloved public figure. Their death sends shockwaves through the world, but instead of mourning in peace, those who know the rule brace themselves. The air thickens with dread as everyone watches, waiting for the next famous name to drop. It always happens. A second dies, sometimes in a freak accident, other times from a sudden illness. And before anyone can fully comprehend the loss, a third is gone, sealing the pattern. The media, of course, reports each death as its own tragedy, but those who know the rules sense something more sinister at work. The connections between the deaths seem too eerie to ignore. Sometimes they've all worked together, met each other at events, or shared a strange bond. Other times, the deaths are separated by oceans, yet the pattern persists. 1, 2, 3, like clockwork, the reaper collects his due. Some say the rule traces back to ancient beliefs, where powerful individuals were thought to be marked by destiny, their lives intertwined in mysterious ways. Others believe it's the consequence of fame itself, a dark energy that surrounds those who rise too high. A few even whisper that behind the scenes, there's a secret group that orchestrates these deaths, a shadowy cabal pulling the strings to keep the balance. Whatever the cause, the rule has been proven time and time again. Celebrity after celebrity, politician after politician, falling in threes, as if the universe demands their lives in groups, is a haunting reminder that no matter how famous, how untouchable, no one can escape the inevitable. And the scariest part, it's only a matter of time before the cycle begins again. One dies, and you know, two more will follow, completing the trio before the rule rests. For now. Let's dive into the mysterious tale of the Blue Star Tattoo legend, a chilling urban myth that once spread fear among parents. Relax, unwind, and drift off as we explore this eerie story. The Blue Star Tattoo legend is a well-known urban myth that emerged in the 1980s, sparking fear and concern among parents and schools. According to this legend, drug dealers were supposedly targeting young children by distributing LSD-laced temporary tattoos disguised as innocent stickers or lick and stick tattoos. These tattoos, often said to feature blue stars, butterflies, or other fun designs, were believed to be soaked in LSD, a potent hallucinogenic drug. The legend typically portrayed a scenario where unsuspecting children would receive these tattoos from strangers or through the mail. Once the tattoo was applied to the skin, the drug would allegedly seep through the pores, causing hallucinations and potentially dangerous effects. The myth by schools, community organisations, and even police departments, urging parents to be vigilant about what their children brought home. One common version of the story described the tattoos being handed out at playgrounds or schools by individuals looking to get children addicted to drugs at an early age. The tattoos were described as brightly coloured and appealing to kids, further feeding into the panic. Some variations of the legend claimed that these drug-laced tattoos were being sold in candy wrappers or other common items that children might encounter. Despite the widespread panic that the Blue Star tattoo legend caused, there was never any verifiable evidence to support the claims. No confirmed cases of children being harmed by LSD-laced tattoos were ever reported. However, the fear it instilled in communities was very real, leading to increased warnings and stricter scrutiny of items given to children by strangers. Experts have since debunked the legend, explaining that LSD is unlikely to be absorbed through the skin in the way the myth suggested. Additionally, the idea of drug dealers giving away expensive drugs like LSD to children for free was deemed highly improbable. The legend, like many urban myths, played on the fears of parents during a time when drug use and awareness were on the rise, particularly in schools. In retrospect, the Blue Star tattoo legend is an example of how misinformation and fear can spread rapidly. Tonight, we journey to Iowa City, where the eerie legend of the Black Angel awaits. Let the mysterious tale of this cursed statue guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. The Black Angel is a haunting urban legend centered around a statue in Oakland Cemetery, Iowa City. The statue, standing over 8 feet tall, was erected in 1912 to mark the grave of Teresa Feldovert, a woman of Czech descent. Over time, the statue gained a sinister reputation, and many locals began to believe it was cursed. The Black Angel originally had a bright bronze colour, but as the years passed, it darkened to a deeper black, which fueled the legend's eerie narrative. Some say the change in colour represents the anger or grief of Teresa's spirit. Others believe the blackened statue is an omen of death, with various warnings attached to it. One popular belief is that anyone who touches or kisses the statue will be met with an untimely death. Another variation claims that those who look directly into the angel's eyes at midnight will be cursed. The statue's mysterious appearance, combined with its dark colour and imposing presence, has made it a popular site for paranormal enthusiasts and thrill seekers. Many visit the cemetery to test the legend, while others keep their distance, unwilling to risk the supposed curse. Though the Black Angel story is rooted in local folklore, the real cause of the statue's discoloration is simply weathering and oxidation of the bronze. Despite this, the legend remains a captivating part of Iowa City's history, continuing to intrigue and frighten those who hear it. Whether cursed or not, the Black Angel stands as a reminder of how myths can grow around even the most ordinary objects. Tonight, let's uncover the haunting legend of the Bell Witch, a mysterious entity Bell Witch is an enduring folklore legend that originated in Robertson County, Tennessee from 1817 to 1821. The story centres around the Bell family, particularly John Bell Sr., a farmer whose household and nearby community were reportedly terrorised by a mysterious and mostly invisible entity. Unlike typical ghost stories, the Bell Witch was said to be capable of speaking, interacting with the physical environment, and even shape-shifting. According to legend, the haunting began when John Bell Sr. encountered strange phenomena on his property, including unexplained noises such as knocking and scratching and the sighting of bizarre animals. As time went on, the entity became more aggressive, attacking family members by pulling their hair, slapping them, and speaking in a disembodied voice. The witch, as it came to be known, seemed to hold a particular hatred for John Bell Sr. and his daughter Betsy. The Bell Witch's powers reportedly escalated, with the entity predicting events and conversing with visitors to the Bell home. Some accounts even claim that the witch was responsible for John Bell Sr.'s death in 1820, allegedly poisoning him. Over the years, the Bell Witch legend has grown into a widely known ghost story, with many believing it to be one of the most famous hauntings in American history. While the true cause of the events remains a mystery, the story of the Bell Witch continues to capture the imaginations of those fascinated by the paranormal. The legend persists today, with people still visiting the site in Tennessee, where the Bell family once lived, in search of answers to the eerie tale. Tonight we gently explore the captivating legend of Anastasia Romanov's survival. Settle in as we unravel the mystery of the lost Duchess and the hope that lingered for decades. The urban legend of Anastasia Romanov's survival is one of the most enduring and captivating stories of 20th century history. It revolves around the idea that Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia, the youngest daughter of Tsar Nicholas II, somehow escaped the tragic fate that befell her family during the Russian Revolution in 1918. While the rest of the Romanov family was believed to have been executed by Bolsheviks, rumours persisted for decades that Anastasia had miraculously survived and disappeared, living under a different identity. The legend began shortly after the Romanov family's execution. On July 17th, 1918, Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children, including Anastasia, were shot and killed by Bolshevik forces in a basement in Yekaterinburg. Their bodies were taken to a remote forest where they were hastily buried in unmarked graves. When the remains of the family were discovered years later, the bodies of 2 Romanov children were missing, including that of Anastasia. This fueled speculation that Anastasia had somehow survived the massacre. The mystery of Anastasia's fate took on a life of its own, with numerous women over the years coming forward claiming to be the lost Duchess. The most famous of these claimants was Anna Anderson, who emerged in the 1920s in Germany. Anderson insisted that she was Anastasia and that she had survived the execution thanks to the help of a sympathetic guard. According to her story, she had sustained injuries but managed to escape and was taken to safety. Her claims garnered international attention, and while many doubted her authenticity, she also attracted a significant following of people who wanted to believe in the possibility that the Romanov princess had survived. Anna Anderson's story was captivating, especially in an era still reeling from the aftershocks of World War I and the Russian Revolution. The idea that one of the Romanovs had escaped the revolution and was living in secret was an enticing fantasy for many royalists and others who were sympathetic to the Romanov family. However, while Anderson's claim seemed plausible to some, many who knew the Romanovs dismissed her story